What could be more romantic than love at first sight?
Cheers.
Cheers.
But if only one person is instantly besotted,
It's hopeless!
chances are it won't end happily ever after.
I'll never be the bride.
Oh, come on.
Smart and beautiful, Claire Walsh seems like a good catch.
Claire was a cheerleader, a valedictorian, and a physical therapist from Arizona. Seemed like she had her life made.
But none of her men stay around.
There seemed to be a pattern where she was more serious about the guy than the guy was about her.
Then, in 1995,
It's nice to meet you.
she meets Jack Molesky at his sister's wedding.
So I can't believe I've known your sister all this time and I've never met you.
I know. All it took was for her to get hitched.
The 38-year-old schoolteacher is the perfect tonic for Claire's wounded pride.
He was the salt of the earth. He was the kindest person you would ever meet.
Can I see you again?
Everybody liked him because he was just a nice guy. And before you know it, Jack and Claire had started a relationship.
It seems like a perfect match.
Where are you taking me?
You'll see.
They both love the outdoors.
You've got to be kidding me.
He was really an outstanding rock climber, a mountain climber, well known throughout Colorado.
In no time,
You're in good hands, I promise.
Jack is the center of Claire's life. She is certain he is the one.
This is more my thing.
They were going to live together, and it was going to be happily ever after, and everything was going to be wonderful.
In Loxahatchee, Florida, in 2004, indoor activities unite 19-year-old James Barry and 18-year-old Melanie Eam.
Melanie and James bonded and fell in love over computer games.
Should I move in now?
No, let your minions take the damage.
It was a young love, but I think it was like a pure love.
Yes.
It was a committed relationship.
James was described by everyone that knew him as a super nice guy.
The young lovers are equally crazy about gaming.
It's kind of a role-playing game. He and Melanie would spend hours playing this game.
The only thing James likes more
What?
is his BFF, Jeff,
Back to the fountain, Hellraiser.
who also lives with James's family.
Jeff and James were best friends, and Melanie was his first girlfriend.
Bang, you're dead. Ugh. Every time.
James played in his bedroom with Jeff, and if Melanie was playing, all three played together.
You always win.
James is the perfect team player.
Had to. It's study time.
Not just fast on the keyboard, he also helps Melanie focus on her future.
Study time. Right? I get it. What? I'll see you tomorrow.
Melanie needed a job, he helped her find a job. Melanie needed to graduate high school, he helped her get a GED. So here's a kid who just wanted to help people.
Melanie is welcomed into the family by James's mom and his stepfather.
Hey, I'm starving.
Torpedo left.
Hands off.
Melanie, hi.
Are you staying for dinner?
If that's not too much trouble.
Of course not.
Melanie spent much of her time at James's house.
Can I help?
She was the kind of girl that you would want your son to have as a girlfriend. They loved her like a daughter.
How would you feel if Melanie stayed for breakfast?
That's fine.
Thanks.
She spent time at his house, overnight stays. It was part of their relationship. It was approved by the parents.
But with everyone under the same roof, there's pressure on James to choose between his girlfriend and his best friend.
What are you doing?
I don't like being left alone.
Melanie couldn't stand James's best friend, Jeff. In fact,
Seriously?
she couldn't stand really any friend that he had.
She wanted to be the only person in his life. And when I say only, I mean only.
Like Melanie, Claire Walsh is a possessive woman.
So these are my college buddies, Josh and Neil. Hey, buddy.
She has no intentions of sharing her new boyfriend, Jack Molesky.
Excuse me, I just want to talk to you.
Jack.
Compulsive, obsessed. Wasn't gonna let go of Jack no matter what the circumstances were.
Hello, Jessica.
Claire starts contacting all the women in Jack's life
Hi, my name is Claire. You know Jack Molesky.
and declares he's off limits.
I'm his girlfriend, and I need to know. So why don't you just tell me everything? And
Claire started doing strange things like reading Jack's mail and going through his phone book and calling women in his little black book, so to speak.
How do you know Jack?
Oh, you know, we used to date.
Yeah, how long ago?
But Claire's antics soon prove too much for Jack. He calls it off.
I'm just not ready to settle down yet.
He couldn't just say, "Go away, woman, leave me alone."
You love me like I love you.
He just sort of tried to gently push her away.
You'll be okay. You can find someone else.
I don't want anyone else. I want to be with you.
For months, they live separate lives in separate states until there's a knock on Jack's door.
Claire?
He thought he was all done with her.
What are you doing here?
And there's Claire. And she's got luggage.
But Claire is carrying more than luggage.
I think I'm pregnant.
She said she didn't have any place to stay. She doesn't have a job. She has nothing. Please help me, Jack. So Jack lets her in.
Jack agrees to support Claire throughout her pregnancy.
So, have you seen a doctor? Well, you need to if you're pregnant.
She's hoping they'll pick up where they left off.
Well, I'm gonna hit the sack. Good night, then.
She would get in bed with him, completely nude, and one thing would lead to another, and, you know, things would happen there.
She moves in and immediately sort of starts taking over. She changed the message on his voicemail so that Instead of just saying, you've got Jack, you've got Jack and Claire.
In Florida, Melanie Eam wants her boyfriend James all to herself by getting his best friend Jeff out of the way.
Jeff has this huge fish tank with some very expensive fish in it. What does she do? She pours bleach into the water of the fish tank, murdering $3,000 worth of fish. She's sending a message to James, don't hang around with Jeff. If you do, there will be consequences. And you know what? $3,000 worth of dead fish, that's nothing.
No. No. No! How could this happen? She did this.
And it works. Jeff gets a message, and he hightails it out of there.
But her plan backfires.
I just don't understand how you could do that.
I'm sorry.
James says, you know what? I'm done with you. We're no more. This time, she moves out of state.
Breaking up is never easy. The young lovers are miserable after they call it quits.
A couple months go by and James is feeling, well, he's feeling lonely. So he calls her up and then he ultimately says, hey, why don't you come back?
I can't wait to see you.
Let's see if we can work this out.
James was so nice, and he seemed to look at her through rose-colored glasses.
Melanie is welcomed back into the family circle.
It's good to have you back.
I missed your food.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's as if nothing has changed.
It was really nice.
Time?
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night.
Good night.
Night, James.
Until Melanie's arch rival, Jeff, wants to come over.
Who was that?
Jeff's coming over. You don't have to see him.
So you want me to go?
Please don't start.
Melanie could not tolerate being rejected.
The friends play computer games into the night.
I know.
What about the gym?
Until they have a virtual visitor.
Look who just joined us. Hellraiser.
Her choice of username was Hellraiser, and her avatar was a female devil holding her own bleeding heart out of her chest. That was the real Melanie.
I'm gonna take that as my cue for power nap.
The virtual gate crashing is too much for James. It was a mistake to invite Melanie back, so he ends it once and for all.
James broke up very gently with Melanie via computer chat. That's not so unusual, especially for young people.
And it was very sweet, it was very sincere. He was just explaining, we've tried, and we can't do it.
In Colorado Springs, as the months pass,
You been a doctor yet?
No. Couldn't get an appointment.
Jack Maliski suspects he's been hoodwinked by his ex, Claire.
I bought you this.
Well,
I think it's faulty.
She isn't pregnant.
It's just not working.
That's when he knew he'd been had.
I'm sick of your lies, Claire.
I'm not lying.
Fed up, Jack demands Claire moves out.
I'm not lying.
That is final.
He put his foot down and said, "You have to leave, and I want you out." And it was probably very hard for him to do that.
A pretty face can easily mask evil intentions.
She was a nut job. I mean, really, she was just flat out crazy obsessed with this man.
Claire is planning a way she can stay with Jack forever.
She went out and bought a gun.
On January 12th, 1997, she's ready.
After Jack had gone to sleep, she grabbed the gun and the ammunition. Jack was sleeping on his stomach. She put the muzzle of the gun flat against his skull. And pulled the trigger. Jack died instantly.
Because if she couldn't have him, no one else could have him.
Claire finally gets her man to stay put. And she's not letting him go.
After she shot Jack, she remained with Jack in bed, snuggled up nude next to him.
She was cuddling him afterwards for quite some time based on the condition his body was in once we got there.
Claire doesn't want to spend life in prison. She wants to spend eternity with Jack.
Then she shot herself, but she sort of missed her head. It was grazed the top of her skull. And then she shot herself in the side. None of it was fatal.
Finally, she makes a frantic call to her cousin, who races over to Jack's apartment.
Claire?
Claire was in a fetal position on the floor, totally naked.
Claire, can you hear me?
And Jack lies dead in his bed.
When they started to question Claire at the hospital, she remembered her name, but not a whole lot else.
Ma'am, can you tell me what happened?
She stared up at the roof where she just blankly stared ahead.
Claire finally confesses, but says she didn't know what she was doing.
What I recollect is her being in a daze.
It was like I was looking down.
That she was above her body and looking down and saw this all take place and had no control of it. Well, I threw that out the window right away.
No one believes Claire Walsh's plea of insanity. In 1998, she is convicted of murder and sentenced to life without parole.
It truly was a fatal attraction. She was going to end this thing and was going to take Jack so no one else can have him.
And that's what Melanie Eames is thinking. When on November 17th, 2016, she returns to James's home.
So just after midnight, Melanie comes to the door.
What are you doing here?
You said we could talk.
Now?
Yeah.
James lets her in.
Mel, please, let's talk tomorrow.
They're in the kitchen, and they're talking.
Do you love me?
Honestly, no.
She becomes enraged, opens the drawer, pulls out a 13-inch kitchen knife.
Mel, come on.
It's almost like she was inside that online game, and she was one of those characters, and she was destroying this man.
As James tries to protect himself, Melanie slashes him 6 times.
Melanie had 6 times to say to herself, no, I'm not going to do this. This is wrong. She didn't. She was working up the courage to plunge the knife in his chest.
This man she claimed to love so much, she stuck a knife into his heart. You don't want me anymore, James? Well, you know what? No one's gonna get you. Bang. Melanie takes off after this savage attack. James rushes down the hall as fast as he can.
Jim! James?
He drops to the floor. The knife falls out of his chest.
Help! Help!
If he doesn't get help soon, he's dead.
James! Call 911. Get him on the bed.
My son is being stabbed!
James's stepfather tries CPR.
It was just horrific. He died on the scene.
He's not breathing.
There's no mystery to this tragedy. All thoughts turn to James's girlfriend, the fish tank, the separation, and the chat room breakup.
We wanted you to come down to the station.
No.
Well, will you talk to us here?
Melanie has some explaining to do.
Did you stab him?
Yes.
Melanie told the detective she was upset because James didn't love her.
I was really angry that he ended our relationship. On social media.
Her fury came from not being told personally.
As if that justified killing him.
In 2019, Melanie Eam is convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 50 years in prison.
On first glance, you would never think that she would be capable of much more than a traffic ticket, much less a heinous murder.
James never saw the danger he was in. Melanie was pretty, but she was pretty poison.
Hey, how are you?
Being loyal to a loved one is a conscious commitment to honor and respect their feelings. But unquestioning loyalty
Just back off and leave me alone.
to the wrong person can end in tragedy. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. In late 2015, 32-year-old single mom Sonia Weidenfelder makes a tentative return to the dating world.
Everyone described Sonia as very polite, very quiet, very demure.
She just looked like your average all-American girl.
A dating app brings 42-year-old phone technician Rick Spalding
Sonia.
into her life.
Hi.
Hey. Looking good.
Thank you.
Sonia's life was progressing in a normal fashion
Drink.
Yes, please.
2, please.
until she encountered Rick.
It's been a long time since I've had a shot.
No time like the present.
On their very first date,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sonia falls under Rick's spell.
Oh, Wow.
Rick was very good at speaking to people and kind of being very engaging, very personable.
You and I are gonna get along just fine. It's gonna be a good night.
Rick, I'm home.
They started seeing each other, and then from there they became a little more serious. Eventually, Rick moved in with Sonia.
Hey, in the bedroom.
Sonia soon learns that she's not the only woman in Rick's life.
Hey. How are you?
Good.
You remember Amanda?
Hi, Sonia.
She just dropped in to borrow some CDs.
Yeah. And one thing led to another. Anyway, where are my clothes?
In the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
Let's see what
Well,
It was an open relationship.
babe, come on. We agreed to an open relationship.
Each of them was free to date other people, to see other people either romantically or in a sexual relationship.
Don't worry.
Thank you. Oh, hey, I hear you two are engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anyway, I gotta go.
He had an ability to pick the women that he wanted to manipulate, and he would find something in them that he felt that he could capitalize on.
In Oxnard, California, 1994. Diana Hahn starts a new job at the local supermarket. But the single 34-year-old is looking for more in life than a steady wage.
So here's a box. Just start by stacking the shelves.
She always seemed somewhat desperate to have a close relationship with a male. She wanted to be loved.
For store manager Michael Daly, the new employee is a perfect opportunity for a new conquest.
Michael was always on the lookout for a quick and easy conquest, and she met the criteria. Lack of self-confidence, desperate for a relationship.
If you need anything, I'm your man.
Okay.
Michael seduces Diana with practiced ease.
Could Diana Hahn please go to the warehouse? Thank you.
Diana lost herself in Michael. She lost her sense of self, if she ever had one, and her work ethic plummeted.
It was a common knowledge at work that they were boyfriend-girlfriend.
Oh, sorry.
Diana had sex with Mike in his van in the parking lot of the place where they worked. She thought that was showing respect. She doesn't know what respect is.
But Diana is smitten. She has no idea what she's getting into. Michael has a family. 2 sons and wife Sherry.
They were high school sweethearts. She really lived to take care of her boys and her husband, Michael.
Have you done your homework?
Yeah.
I don't think Sherry knew about Michael's philandering for many years, and when she did find out, she didn't want to believe it. She still wouldn't leave him. For Sherry, marriage was forever.
Even after years of cheating, Sherry hasn't given up on her husband.
You're late.
Bad traffic.
I'll heat you up some dinner.
I've eaten.
But you could have called.
Don't start.
She wasn't willing to throw in the towel, and she was trying to be that perfect wife.
But I've been waiting for hours.
Well, it wouldn't hurt for you to miss a meal. You look like a barn animal, getting fatter and uglier by the day.
Sherry became submissive and dutiful, trying to win Michael back, to get him to fall in love with her again. She was wasting her time.
I've lost 2 pounds.
You need to lose 2 stone.
She gained some weight. He picked on her about everything. She was never good enough. He went out of his way to to brutalize her, and he took pride in it.
Hey.
Rick Spaulding is another man who dominates the many women in his life.
Rick was a narcissist, and he had to be in total control, and he could never be wrong. But he could also be charming.
But Rick's special breed of charm no longer has power over one ex-lover, 39-year-old Debbie Morgan, the mother of his 11-year-old son.
She was kind and gentle, a great mom. She worked for the Department of Human Services. She was a child welfare specialist.
Hey, Tiger.
Hi, Dad. I'll see you Tuesday. Love you.
She was dedicated towards trying to make her son have the best life that she could give him. And that was with all the ongoing struggles with Rick.
Hey, Rick. Your payments haven't come through again.
Rick owes Debbie $10,000 in unpaid child support.
Here we go again.
What do you mean, here we go? I need to...
Why are you doing this to me?
He's your son, too.
I know he's my son. You get your money. Just back off and leave me alone.
We believe he just didn't want to pay the child support. He didn't want to do anything that would help Debbie.
Rick is out of work and sponging off his latest lover, Sonia.
Sonia was the one who was working. Rick was staying with her, and she appeared to be fronting a lot of the bills.
Sonia doesn't blame Rick for the situation.
It's hopeless. Debbie's out to destroy me.
Instead, they unite against a common enemy.
He's saying that if Debbie was causing all their problems, that they would be so much better off if Debbie weren't around.
And she began to believe, okay, our life was doing great, and then now it's spiraling down because of Deborah Morgan.
Soon, Sonia is a willing volunteer in Rick's increasingly bitter battle.
How about this?
Now you're talking.
We can post these all through her neighborhood. And I've got another idea. Yes, hello. I'd like to report an unfit mother.
Sonia tried to get Debbie in trouble and tried to get her fired from her job.
Yes, neglect, child neglect.
But yeah, we were shocked when we heard that Sonia was involved.
Rick even targets Debbie with constant phone calls at work.
Please just leave me alone.
The relentless campaign begins to take a toll.
Deborah was scared of Rick.
Are you okay?
She told one of her friends, if something ever happens to me,
Rhonda, if I end up dead,
it was because of Rick. Look to Rick.
In Oxnard, California, after years of being humiliated and belittled by her husband, Mike, Sherry Daly has had enough.
Will you be home for dinner tonight?
Don't know.
She loved her husband, but reached a point where he had damaged her so much she knew she couldn't stay with him.
I can't keep living like this.
She talked about leaving, and he said, I'll never let you have the children.
I think we should separate.
I will never let you take my children.
Michael wants everything his way. Children, lovers, and drugs. Diana is happy to play along, even signing herself over for his pleasure.
This is for you. This is a declaration that you own my body.
She signed a contract that she would devote her body and mind to him. She merged with Michael.
Diana seems up for anything.
It's your birthday coming up. What do you want?
I want Sherry dead.
For the first time in her life, Diana has a man who wants her. It's an opportunity she can't resist.
She wanted to slip right into the life of being Michael's wife.
Diana would get the instant family love and endless adoration that she craved.
Diana vows Michael Daly will be hers, or nobody's.
Diana told a coworker she was going to commit a human sacrifice for a friend for a birthday gift.
She picked up an axe, a knife, trash bags, matches. She bought a police uniform, picked up a badge, a wig, makeup.
On the morning of May 6, 1996, Sherry Daly's shopping trip in Ventura takes an unexpected turn.
As she walked out of the store, her life changed forever. Diana pulls in behind her, similar to what a police officer would do.
Ma'am, I'm a police officer and you're under arrest.
Posing as a police officer, Diana captures her prey too easily.
Sherry went with her, handcuffed. She didn't question authority.
I think that she was taken aback, did not recognize Diana, and she submitted to what she believed the authority of the state, a police officer, and she followed the directions.
But it doesn't take long for Sherry to wise up.
It wasn't until she was completely immobilized and able to move in the back seat that she realized it was Diana Hahn.
What are you doing? Alex, get off me!
Diana is fulfilling her lover's birthday wish.
She struck Sherry with a hatchet.
Despite a severe head wound, Sherry is not dead. But Diana's not done yet.
The knife was actually twisted once it had penetrated through Sherry's ribcage. The twisting of the knife clearly indicated a great deal of hatred, passion, pure evil.
How can you do this to her? You know, such a sweet person.
For former detective Matt Harville, the case is especially shocking.
Sherry was a friend of mine. We went to high school together.
He recognizes the victim's name after her husband reports her missing.
What's your emergency?
My wife is missing.
Several detectives, myself included, went to Michael's house, and I spoke to Michael personally. Just general questions.
Is there any reason why Sherry would leave?
I asked him if there was anything that we should know about, because we're going to explore all avenues.
I have a girlfriend.
And he provided me with her phone number.
Detective Harville has no reason to suspect Michael until the next morning when he visits Diana.
Good morning, ma'am.
She came to the door. She was dressed in a very revealing nightie. Black van was in the driveway of Diana's house, and that was the same black van that Michael Daly owned.
Michael, come out. Michael, come out.
And at that point, Mike came from a room at the back of the house, and he was dressed in a pair of boxer shorts.
I'm gonna need you both to come down to the station.
The police found Michael and Han together having sexual intercourse. Not exactly the thing that the grieving husband does the day after his wife was kidnapped.
Michael and Diana's future together lasts less than 48 hours. They've left a long trail of evidence.
We had bank records. We knew where she had written checks recently.
Diana's checks lead straight to a wig shop. Another leads to the murder weapon. And they trace a rental car in Diana's name.
The car was full of blood, fiber, and hairs and things of that nature from Sherry's murder. They left an incredible trail, and we were able to put this case together to a powerful, beyond any reasonable doubt case.
Confronted with the evidence, Michael tries to throw his lover under the bus.
He thought he had committed the perfect crime, and that if anything went wrong, Diana would take the fall and never, ever point in his direction. He just wasn't the sharpest pencil in the box.
In 1998, Michael Daly is convicted of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. He's sentenced to life without parole. All Diana Han ever wanted was a life with a happy ending. Instead, she receives a life sentence, guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. She has no chance of parole.
They will spend the rest of their lives in prison suffering every day.
For some people, falling in love with the right person brings out the best in them. In Diana's case, falling in love with Michael brought out the worst.
Falling in love isn't going well for Sonia Weidenfelder. Rick Spaulding's custody battle has sent him broke, and he's taking Sonia down with him.
That's it. There's nothing left.
She was draining her savings. Now, their house was in foreclosure because Sonia was trying to help Rick.
And I'm going to jail.
Rick is out of money and out of excuses. His next court date is set for November 8th, 2016. If he doesn't pay the owed child support, he's facing 6 months in jail.
He was telling people Debbie was trying to put him in jail.
And that was looming over Rick's head. They viewed this as doomsday.
And there's only one person they blame.
If they got rid of Debbie, their life would be blissful. That all their problems would go away and everything would be great.
You know, if only Debbie would disappear.
I believe that Rick put that idea to kill Deborah in Sonia's head.
This was something that, Rick was trying to manipulate her into doing.
I have an idea.
She told Rick that I have an idea, and it will be concrete, and it will solve their problems.
Well, you don't mean what I think you mean.
Yeah.
You can't be serious.
What are our options?
In the early hours of November 7th, the day before Rick is due in court, Sonia uses his son's key to gain entry to Debbie's house.
Sonia crept in at a point in time when she was asleep.
She stood on this side, and the shotgun would have been put right up to her face.
It was one shot at point-blank range.
I don't know why she was so enraged that she could do such a thing.
Sonia's cruelty doesn't stop there. She knows full well that Debbie's 12-year-old son will be coming home to that house after school.
He was coming back to Deborah after spending the weekend with Rick. So he rode the bus home and got home sometime after 4 o'clock.
Mom's car was there, which was unusual.
Called out to his mom. She didn't answer. So he walked in, turned the light on.
It was a very, very grisly scene.
I can't understand why a person would let a child, why she would let him find her like that. It's beyond my comprehension.
Suspicion immediately falls on Rick.
They wanted to know if we knew of anybody that might want to harm Debbie. And we told them we knew one person.
A jury finds Rick Spaulding and Sonia Weidenfelder equally culpable. Both are convicted of first-degree murder. In 2018, they are sentenced to life in prison. No chance of parole until 2056.
When we heard the verdict, we felt that the burden had been lifted. They really were going to get what they deserved.